So service leader is late due to traffic. So can we start reading chapter 56 ourselves first before he arrives? Okay. 我们先自己读以赛亚书56章，因为主持的人他说他那个教宗主帅，他可能应该知道了吧？他在外面还没进来。
Interpreting. What's this sound here? Amen. Before we begin our Bible study, let's kneel down and pray. In the name of Jesus, we begin our Bible study.
我觉得是圣名开始我们的查经
Apologies for the lateness.
不好意思啊，迟了。
So today we are continuing to study the book of Isaiah, chapter 56.
我们继续来查考这个以赛亚书的56章。
Chapter 56 to 59 actually covers the sins of the people.
56章到59章提到这些百姓的罪。
And what it tells us is it's a reminder to us of what we should reflect on today in our faith.
这也是我们信仰要来去反省的事情。
So, in order for God to love His people, the people needed to really purge themselves of these sins.
所以要神来去爱他的百姓，百姓一定要来去除掉就离开罪。
And only when the people of God commit themselves wholeheartedly to God and get rid of these sins can they be joined to God once again.
所以只有这神的百姓，他们全心的投入来去离开这个罪，才能够再一次来去跟神来去联合。
And once again, they can see and feel and experience the love of God.
能够看得到、感觉得到、体验得到神的这个爱。
And so this is a reminder to us today also about maybe the sins in our life that we have to wholeheartedly get rid of in order to draw closer to God.
今天也是一样，我们应该要把全心全意的来把我们的罪来去除掉，来去亲近神。
So chapter 56 talks about two types of sin.
56章讲到两方面的这个过失。
So the first is to not observe the Sabbath correctly.
第一方面是讲到不来去正确的遵守这个安息日。
And the second is talking about the leaders being corrupt.
第二方面是讲到这个百姓的这个腐败。
So the chapter splits from verse 1 to verse 8.
所以第1节到第8节。
And this talks about the observance of the Holy Sabbath.
这里讲到这个安息日，遵守安息日的事情。
And then verse 9 to verse 12 talks about this the corrupt leaders.
9到12节就是讲到这腐败的这些领袖。
So we see from verse 1 to verse 8 that the people of God did not observe the Sabbath properly because they observed it in a very mechanical or superficial way.
我们发觉到这些百姓，他们没有正确的来遵守这个安息日，只是一种外表上形式化的。
We can see from verse 2 that it says, "Blessed is the man who does this, and the son of man who lays hold on it, who keeps from defiling the Sabbath, and keeps his hand from doing any evil."
谨守安息日而不干犯，禁止己手而不作恶，如此持守的人，变为有福。
So we see this mention of how they did not observe the Sabbath was because they defiled the Sabbath or they did evil on the Sabbath.
这里说到他们为什么在安息日，就是说干犯安息日，因为他们作恶。
And we know that if they defile and they do evil on the Sabbath, they are not truly observing the Sabbath. They do not receive this blessing of the Sabbath.
也就是说，在安息日，如果他们作恶他们就不能够真正的得到安息日的福气。
Of course, we know today we observe the Sabbath under grace.
今天我们是以这个在恩典当中来去守这个安息日。
But we know this principle of not defiling the Sabbath and not doing evil, of course, applies to us today.
当然这个原则不作恶不来去就是不来去干犯这个安息日，是我们要知道的。
So we may often find that we question what is the way to keep the Sabbath then?
所以这里有时候我们问自己，我们应该怎么来去遵守这个安息日？
How can we prevent ourselves from defiling the Sabbath?
怎么使到自己来去不干犯这个安息日？
We may feel that we don't do evil on the Sabbath,
可能我们觉得我们在安息日不作恶，
but how do we prevent ourselves from defiling it?
那怎么使到自己呢来不去就是说污秽这个安息日？
We can turn to chapter 58, verse 13.
我们看这个58章的这个13节，
See, verse 13 reads that if you turn away your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy day of the Lord honorable, and shall honor him, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasure, nor speaking your own words. Then, verse 14, then you shall delight
14
yourself in the Lord, and I will cause you to ride in the high hills of the earth, and feed you with the heritage of Jacob your father. The mouth of the Lord has spoken. So here we see verse 13 gives us an insight in what and how we can prevent ourselves from defiling the Sabbath.
所以13节这就告诉我们怎么来不干犯这个安息日。
So we see here that it is to not do our own pleasure on this holy day.
就是在这个圣日的时候，我们不做自己为喜乐的事，
Not doing our own ways,
不做自己的私事，
not finding our own pleasure,
不做就是说不做自己喜欢做的事情，
and not speaking our own words.
也不说私话。
So we see these are the basic principles to adhere to observe the Sabbath truly from our heart.
所以这是我们这个原则，守安息日的原则，从心里来去守。
Of course, we see that the central point here is to center our life, our observance of Sabbath on God.
所以这也就是说，这也告诉我们，我们的生活是以神为我们的中心。
We find that sometimes coming on the Sabbath can be taken for granted.
有时我们觉得守安息日是理所当然的。
I think coming to church today was almost a mini lesson in how sometimes the grace of God is actually with us when we try to come to church on the Sabbath.
有时候我们来安息日的时候，我们就发现到，我们真的需要神的恩典我们才能够来得到。
There can sometimes be so many things blocking your journey to come to church.
可能会有很多的事情、问题来去阻挡你来守安息日。
Sometimes leaving your home can be easier said than done.
有时甚至离开家里出这个家门说起来容易，做起来就不是这么容易。
And of course, we can always be planning how things will happen, but things do not always, of course, go according to plan.
我们可以计划说我们应该怎么做，但是呢，有很多时候我们的计划不能够实现。
But we find that one thing we find today is many of us come to church sometimes with a very very tired feeling.
有时候我们带着一个非常累的一种心态态度来到教会
And we find that this can be one of two possibilities.
这可能有一两个可能性
We find that Monday to Friday is very hectic at work,
可能星期一到星期五在工作上是非常的忙碌
or life is very busy, so we are very burdened and tired for the week.
这个生活非常的繁忙这过去一个星期非常的累
So when it comes to Saturday, it feels that it has been a very long week.
所以来到星期六的时候，我们发觉到已经是一个很长的一周
And so actually, this is our time when we feel the tiredness and we feel that we really need a good rest.
所以可能这个时候就觉得非常的累，需要好好的来去休息
And of course, there are others who also have a busy week.
当然有些人也是有一个忙碌的一周
But when it comes to Friday night,
但是到了星期五晚上
it's the end of the working week.
就是他们工作的这一周的工作的结束
So we find that we want to relax.
我们想到说我们要来去放松一下
And when we relax, we want to do things we like.
就是我们想要做的事情
So we find that sometimes this might be finding ways to entertain ourselves, to find this rest, this relax sort of feeling.
那使到找一些事情来去让我们有一种 这种享受一种休息的一种感觉。
And of course, this can finding ways to entertain ourselves can also end up even sleeping late and getting not as much rest.
或者我们找一些事情来去捂热一下自己，可能会使到晚上就迟睡了。
And of course, then when we come to church, we find that actually we, of course, are not refreshed. We are tired.
那星期六来到教会的时候，我们就不是很人不是很清醒，那就觉得很累。
So this is something to actually ponder when, it says here to turn away from doing our own things.
所以这里我们要思想，就是说要调转你的脚步来不要做自己的事情。
I've come across some members before who are quite are straight in their way of seeing the Sabbath day.
我遇到一些信徒，他们就是说很直接的来去看这个安息日的这个道理。
They feel that from Friday sunset, from Friday evening to Saturday evening, they cannot do anything, anything to do with their personal selves.
所以他们说在星期五晚上太阳下山到星期六的太阳下山，他们不会做自己要做的事情。
So they're not Jewish friends, they're church friends, but
是教会的信徒。
but how they feel is they will not do their shopping. They will not do their own personal shopping on the Sabbath day.
他们比如说在安息日，他们不会去做自己的购物。
They try to simplify their life from Friday evening to Saturday evening.
星期五开始，他们就开始就是说这一天的生活把它简单下来。
And they try to refocus their mind purely on coming to church to worship God.
他们就把他们心思完全的调整来到敬拜神。
So find that actually from Friday evening, even if the members not able to come to church because of distance or finishing work late.
所以甚至在星期五不能够来到教会，因为路程的问题或者工作晚了。
The important thing was for that member to prepare the heart.
最重要的这信徒他要预备他的心。
So that member would actually sleep very early on a Friday evening.
那他就会很早的，星期五晚上很早的他就来睡觉。
Sleep, pray, read the Bible, pray, and then sleep very early.
那他就读经祷告，很早就睡觉。
And then Saturday morning, wake up early, ready for the Sabbath day.
那星期六很早就起床，准备来就是准备来守安息。
So this sometimes gives us maybe something to ponder upon.
这是我们可能要可以给我们来去参考的。
We do find our lives are very busy and filled with a lot of things that can occupy our mind.
我们发觉到我们生活是非常的忙碌，有很多事情都在冲昏了我们的头。
So maybe we do feel that it is only when we come on Saturday morning that it is really to put aside things.
可能真的要在安息日的时候才把这些事情要摆到一边。
But actually we see that we can actually start our preparation from Friday evening.
很多时候我们星期五晚上都不能够有这个准备。
And of course, able to come to church for Friday evening if we can make it.
当然星期五晚上可以来，我们应该来。
And so we see that Sabbath is important, and it is not important because it is not a ritual.
这是一个很重要的一个就是一天，而不是什么的一种守节。
So what we're saying is we do not feel that we justify or we say to God, look, today I've come to church today.
我们不是说来到教会，我们就跟神说你看今天我来到教会了。
We've heard of testimonies of the angels taking a register on the Sabbath day.
我们也听过这个见证说，天使在安息日来去守这个安息。
But we find that from our heart, it's when we come to church, it's not because we are coming here merely for attendance purposes.
所以我们来到教会，不是说只是为了要来去告诉人说我是有来参加而已。
Because we find that then when coming to church is like this ritual or it becomes a burden to us.
那可能就会成为我们的一种负担。
Because we feel that if we don't do it, then we are not fulfilling this thing we we're doing as a ritual.
我们不做的话，就好像说我们没有完成一项事情啊。
So what we find is the true essence of Sabbath is we actually come to really enjoy this rest in the church.
所以安息日真正的这个真意呢，就是来到教会能够来去能够安息
We are joyful and enjoy the day that God has rested for us.
我们来喜乐，因为神在这一日他休息了，为我们而休息
And we find that it is an opportunity to put to rest really all the things that we encounter from Monday to Friday.
也是让我们从星期一到星期五所碰到的事情能够摆到一边
And because we find that sometimes when we come to Sabbath almost in a ritualistic way.
如果我们带着一种形式化的来到这里来去守安息
Almost just coming like in autopilot mode.
或者是说已经一种机械性的来到这里守安息
And we find that we want to go through the motions, and after lunch, still a few more services, but soon it's going to be over.
可能我们觉得这个午餐之后可能还有2-3堂聚会，那就很快就要结束了。
And we find that the Sabbath day is past now. We've survived another Sabbath day.
可能这样说这个安息日又过了，那我们好像能够生存下来。
We find that if one day our heart towards God becomes lacking or weak,
如果我们对神的这个心已经开始逝去的时候，
we find that actually this way of coming to church to observe the Sabbath then no longer means anything to us.
那你发觉到说来守安息日已经不再对我们有什么意义了。
We feel that actually it is something we can do without.
也可以说我们可以做也好，不做也好。
We feel that there is no connection with God when we come because we are merely going through the motions of the day.
我们跟神之间已经联系不上，所以我们只是觉得好像我们做的一个形式化的事情。
So even though God is knocking on our hearts every Sabbath day when we are listening to the sermons,
虽然每个安息日神在借着道理在来去敲我们的心门
but actually our heart is closed.
但是我们的心门呢是关闭的
Because our mind is closed, our heart is not in the church.
我们的心我们是关闭的，我们心思意念不在教会里面
So we find that actually this is a reminder to ponder our heart towards the Sabbath day.
这是提醒我们来去思考一下在安息日要怎么做
Do we truly come and feel this love and close relationship with God on the Sabbath day?
在安息日是不是真的来去感觉到我们跟神之间的这个密切的这个关系
Of course, we know that just merely coming 1,000 times on the Sabbath day does not guarantee you this close relationship with God.
你来1000次也不能够代表你跟神之间有这个亲密的关系
This is something that we have to respond and be moved by His love.
我们应该要来去被他的爱来去有所来去反应
So what we find, sort of what we can see in the church today is how parents look after their children.
那在教会我们看得到这些父母亲怎么来去照顾他们的孩子
Of course, those who are parents, we know that for children, we really care about every aspect and sometimes overcare.
发觉到做父母亲的他们对孩子们的关怀有时候已经超乎了
We find that we're worried when it's too cold,
发觉到太冷的时候我们又担心
or it's actually too warm.
或者太热的时候
When we're feeding food, we feel, oh, maybe the food's too warm.
当我们喂他们吃东西的时候可能会觉得这食物可能太热
Actually, we find that our love is almost unconditional for our children.
我们对孩子的这个爱是没有条件的
And I believe this is almost the relationship that God sees us today.
这也是神跟我们之间的这种关系
Actually, He truly cares for us,
他真的很关心我们
and He really wants us to observe His Sabbath day.
要我们来去遵守安息日
So it is really ourselves to question how we respond to this love.
这是我们要问自己的，怎么来去对神的爱来做出这个反应
So we find that when we observe the Sabbath day by putting away our own matters and our own self-interest.
所以当我们在安息日的时候，把自己的意识自己想要做的事情放到一边的时候，
We find that then we can be this blessed man who receives his blessing from observing the Sabbath.
那我们就成为这个蒙福的人，能够从安息日这里得到福气。
From verse 3 to verse 8, we see that this is, we can see this salvation is coming to the Gentiles.
3节到8节讲到这个救恩也临到这些外邦人。
And we see that especially mentioned are the sons of the foreigners and the eunuchs.
这里说这些外邦人，还有甚至这些太监，
And they come to observe the Sabbath day.
他们来遵守这个安息日。
They are included in verse 6, that everyone who keeps from defiling the Sabbath and holds fast my covenant.
所以那些他们也算在里面，只要他们来遵守这个安息圣日不干犯安息圣日。
So what we can see from the sons of the foreigners,
所以看得到这些外邦的子民，
we see that here God says that to them, do not say the Lord has utterly separated me from his people.
这里告诉我们说，不要这样说，神已经把我们跟他的子民来去分开。
So we see here that these sons of the foreigners, they are, of course, from a different group of people to the people of God.
当然这些外邦人跟神的百姓是不同的。
But we see that when they have been joined already to the Lord,
但是他们在这里联合起来之后，
they should not be seen separated from his people.
在神的眼中是不分别的，没有分别的。
And of course, we understand that today, once a Gentile or non-believer has been baptized and joined to the body of Christ, we cannot see them as separate from the Lord.
当然这个我们今天说那些外邦人还没有信主洗礼之后就是一家人。
They belong to Christ, just like we belong to Christ.
他们是属基督的，跟我们一样。
And if we see the eunuchs in verse 3 and verse 4,
第3节、第4节讲到这个太监。
the eunuch comes to say, "Here I am, a dry tree."
这里说我在这里，我是枯干枯树。
Of course, we know a eunuch is a keeper in the palace.
我们知道说太监是在这个王宫里面来去做事情的。
We know that even Jesus actually taught us that there are 3 types of eunuchs.
甚至主耶稣也讲到有3种不同的这个太监。
In the book of Matthew, that there are those who are born as eunuchs.
有些是生出来就是。
There are those who are made by man as eunuchs.
有些是人造的。
And there are those who separate themselves from the world and serve God as eunuchs.
那有些人他是分离这个从这个世界当中分别出来去服侍。
So what we see here is that the eunuch says, "I am a dry tree."
为什么这里說我是枯樹？
Of course, we know that a dry tree is a tree that is withering, is dying. It's not going to survive for much longer.
枯樹的意思就是已經慢慢的在枯乾了都不能夠來去存活。
A dry tree can also signify obviously a tree that is unable to bear fruit or to bear leaves.
当然也就是說這個枯樹它不會來去結果子不會有這個葉子。
And of course, we know that eunuchs, if they have not been physically mutilated, they do not bear children.
當然，如果這個在太監來說，他們是不能夠生育孩子的。
We see that in Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 1, the law of Moses actually excluded the eunuchs from the congregation.
申命記21章這裡根據摩西的律法是把這個太監把它分出來的。
So they are almost isolated and excluded from the people.
可以說從這些百姓當中完全的分出來。
But we see that in the book of Ezekiel,
以西結書
chapter 17,
以西結書的17章
Ezekiel chapter 17, verse 24.
24節。
Here we see all the trees of the field shall know that I, the Lord, have brought down the high tree and exalted the low tree, dried up the green tree, and made the dry tree flourish. I, the Lord, have spoken and have done it. So here we see that there are the green tree and the dry tree.
这里有这个有青树，也有枯树。
There are many trees in this field.
这田野当中有很多不同的树。
And we can see that there may be those who are the dry tree.
当然当中可能有一些是枯树。
Maybe those who are dying or seen by others as not living or not full of life.
看起来是没有什么生命的。
But we see that God can make even the dry tree flourish.
但是神也可以使这个枯树来去发旺。
And we see that God actually does the same for these eunuchs in chapter 56, verse 4.
所以56章以赛亚书56章第4节也是这样对待这些这个太监。
Even though they may be seen as slaves or servants and excluded from the people.
可能在人的眼中，他们是这些仆人，是服侍人的，跟人是分出来的。
We see that actually because they observe the Sabbath day.
但是因为他们遵守安息日。
The eunuchs who keep my Sabbaths.
就是那些持守我业的太监。
We see that even the house and this name will be given to them.
甚至这个名还有这个殿跟这个名都会给他们。
So we see these two specific groups of people, the sons of the foreigners and the eunuchs, are counted in as belonging to Christ.
所以这些外邦人跟这些太监都算属神的人。
And because they have not defiled the Sabbath, they have kept this holy Sabbath.
因为他们没有干犯安息日，遵守安息生日。
And they have held fast this covenant.
所以他们持守了这个约。
So what we see is they're given a name.
所以他们是有名的。
This name in the house of God, a name that is better than that of sons and daughters.
这些名号比有儿女的更美。
And this is an everlasting name.
这是永远的名。
And we see from verse 6 that they will come to love this name of the Lord.
所以第6节告诉我们说，他们就会爱神的名。
So of course we know that name today is Jesus, our Lord that we worship.
我们知道说，今天这个名就是耶稣，就是我们的主，我们所敬拜的。
And we see important that they shall not be cut off.
所以这里说很清楚，他们不会被剪除。
We find that today we also find those who come to believe, they belong to Christ.
所以那些相信神的人他们是属神的。
And we should never see them as just because they maybe come from a different background.
我们不要看他们因为从不同的背景来。
Or maybe their past was maybe troubled or very different to that of a Christian.
或者他们过去的生活跟一般人或甚至跟基督徒的生活不一样。
Maybe their life was maybe lacking life in the past.
过去他们的生命是没有什么生活的。
But we see that God is able to make even the dry tree flourish.
神甚至能够把这个枯树让它能够发旺。
He can revive these people when they come to believe in Him and to worship Him.
他可以让这些来敬拜他的人来去复兴。
And we see from verse 7 that even them I will bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer.
第7节说：“我必领他们到我的圣山，使他们在祷告我的殿中喜乐。”
Their burnt sacrifices, their sacrifices will be accepted on my altar, for my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations.
我的燔祭和平安祭在我坛上必蒙悦纳，因我的殿必称为万民祷告的殿。
So importantly, their offerings and sacrifices will be accepted on the altar.
所以他们的献祭会在这个祭坛上蒙悦纳。
So we find that this today is one of our goals and aims in our life.
这也是我们生活上的一个目标。
That when we come to this holy mountain, when we come to this house of God,
当我们来到这圣山这个殿中的时候，
that our burnt offerings and our sacrifices will be accepted by God.
我们的燔祭跟我们平安祭能够蒙神的悦纳。
We of course know the story of Cain and Abel.
我们知道这个亚伯跟该隐的献祭，
that when God looks into our heart and understands and sees that our offerings are not from the heart,
那神看我们的心，知道说不是从心来去献祭的，
we see that even though we try to offer, we give even what we deem the best, then we see God still will not accept.
我们虽然说看起来是最好的，但是神还是不悦纳。
We know from verse 7 when it says, My house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations.
这里说我的殿，第7节说我的殿必称为万民祷告的殿。
We know that this was a verse used by Jesus in an incident in the New Testament.
主耶稣也用了这句话，在这个新月的时候，
In Mark chapter 11, verse 15,
马可福音书11章的第5节，
we know that when after Jesus had rebuked the fig tree,
当主耶稣来责骂了这个咒诅了这个无花果树，
because the fig tree had not borne any fruit,
因为这个无花果树它没有，这树没有结果子，
he then came to the temple and saw the people who were trading.
所以之后他就进到圣殿，看到圣殿里面的人在买卖，
And then he would overturn and cast them out.
所以他就把桌子椅子推倒了，把他们赶出去。
We see that this story actually should have moved the Pharisees and the scribes to reflect and to ask for forgiveness.
所以应该是让这些法利赛人文士来去思考，来去希望能够来去悔改。
But we see that actually when they heard it, they sought how to destroy Jesus.
但是当他们知道之后，他们一心是想怎么样来要去就是来去伤害耶稣。
We know that when Jesus rebuked the fig tree, it is almost like explaining what the people of God had become.
主耶稣咒诅无花果树的时候，可以告诉我们说，当时的百姓已经成为这样的情况。
That a tree that is unfruitful, does not bear figs, then is no worth and no use.
一棵无花果不结果子的话，就是没有用了。
And we see, of course, Jesus was a gentle and loving person.
耶稣是一个非常温柔非常爱人的神。
But why would he come to drive out these people and to overturn tables in the temple?
为什么他来到圣殿呢？来去把这些人给赶出去呢？
We see that the priests at that time let the traders sell in the temple.
因为当时的祭司他让这些做买卖的人就在这个圣殿里面来去做生意。
We see that this can be for a reason of convenience.
当然是为了方便。
Because there are people who changing money.
有些人在这里换钱。
There are people who selling doves for sacrifice.
卖这个鸽子来让他们来去献祭。
And we see that these people may have done it from a original good intention.
可能一开始是有好的这个意识在里面。
To try to help the people on their way of convenience to worship God.
使到他们能够方便来去敬拜神。
We find that this was done out of convenience.
这可能是凭着一个方便而来去做。
There may have people who were corrupted through this practice.
但是有些人可能借着这些事情就腐败了。
And we see that this is sometimes the case in the church.
所以有时候在教会也能够看得到。
We need to be careful that we do not do things out of convenience.
所以我们做事情不要凭着这个方便来去做。
When we're in the house of God, we do not treat others and deal with others in a way that is out of convenience or original intention to help one another.
我们不要就是彼此的对待以一种我们说方便的方式来去彼此来去对待。
Because in the Lord we need to keep the house of God as a house of prayer.
因为在神的殿中是一个祷告的殿。
We should not treat it as a place where we can do business to help one another.
不是一个做买卖的地方来去帮助别人。
We do not see it as a place of convenience to establish relationships that can maybe help ourselves.
我们不是一个方便的地方来建立自己的关系来去得到益处。
And so we find that this action of Jesus to overturn the tables, to drive out, is something that we may have to do ourselves today as well.
所以主耶稣在这里把桌子椅子推倒了，也是我们今天要做的。
This action is needed to cleanse our heart from things that may take our attention away from truly worshiping God.
所以这个动作是很需要把这些不好的敬拜神的意识把它给除掉。
And is needed in order to really call God's house a house of prayer.
能够真正的来在这里称呼神的殿为祷告的殿。
The last passage is from verse 9 to verse 12.
最后一个部分是第9节到12节。
And they say this was against the corrupt leaders of God's people.
这是对那些腐败的这些带领者。
We see the description is when the beasts of the field come to devour.
这描写是说田野的诸兽都来吞吃。
The watchmen of God are actually blind.
也就是说神的这些看守的人都已经瞎眼了。
They are all ignorant.
他们都是没有知识的。
They are all dumb dogs.
他们是哑巴狗。
And they cannot bark.
他们不能叫唤。
And actually they are sleeping, they're lying down, and they love to slumber.
其实他们是做梦躺卧在贪睡。
So of course we know what is the use of a watchman if they are not able to see these beasts of the field coming.
这看守者有什么用呢？如果看不到田野的这些诸兽都要来。
We find that dogs historically are used to guard the household.
狗可以说是用来就是来去看顾这个房子的。
So when they see any strangers, they will bark and alert the master.
看到陌生人的时候，他们都会来去叫唤。
Of course, today we actually prefer dogs that don't bark if we have a dog at home.
但如果你家里有养狗的话，你是希望那个狗不要随便来去叫唤。
But here we know that actually dogs their use is for alert and protection.
所以这个狗的目的呢，就是来去保护，也来去让我们醒觉。
So when a dog has no such use,
当这狗没有这样的用处的时候，
then we find actually that they're not needed anymore.
就是说他们不需要了。
We know in Southeast Asia they actually end up eating them.
那有些地方亚洲国家他们就把它来去杀了来吃掉。
But here we see that if the people, the leaders of God, are like these dumb dogs and they have no more use,
如果这些神的这些带领者，他们好像这些哑巴狗已经没有的用了，
then how
没有
can
用
they
处了。
watch out for the people of God?
那怎么来去作为神的百姓的这个守望者呢？
The beasts of the field are coming.
这个野兽田野的诸兽来了。
Yet we see these leaders are actually sleeping. They have slumbered.
那这些带领的人，他们都在睡觉。
And we see that because the nature is that they have greed in their hearts.
这个主要的原因是在他们内心里面有这个贪婪。
It is all about themselves.
都是因为自己。
They are only out to gain for themselves.
就是只是为自己的利益而做事。
They only look to think their own way.
他们只是要行自己的路。
And they only out to look out for their own territory.
他只是看顾自己的这个利益。
Of course, this is a reminder to us today for those who serve in the church.
这也是对我们今天那些服侍神的在教会服侍神的一个提醒。
We may not, of course, we can still talk.
当然我们还能够来去教导。
But what is it that we say to each other?
那我们彼此之间所讲的是什么？
The words we speak, are they actually useful or meaningful?
我们讲的是不是有用的、有意思的？
And ultimately, do we, when we say we care for the church,
当我们说我们非常的关心教会，
do we actually see the problems in the church?
我们有没有看到教会的这些问题？
Do we want to see the problems that members have in their lives and want to truly help?
我们有没有看到那些信徒们生活上的一些困难，我们要来去帮助他们？
Importantly, do we discern any false teachings in the church?
更加重要的，我们在教会里面能够分辨这些假道，
When we see that there are people who are sharing messages that are not true to the Bible,
或者我们知道说人家有人在讲一些异端的时候，
or when we see people who discourage others,
或者讲一些使人丧志的话，
are we like these dumb dogs?
我们是不是好像这些哑巴狗？
We do not bark.
我们不叫唤了，
And actually, we just take it easy. We don't really want to care.
我们或者就是很轻松的来去对待，不用去不关心。
Of course, the last verse is that we need to be very careful about being intoxicated with the wine of this world.
12节就告诉我们呢，我们不要被世界上的就是说不要来去被酒来去就是中酒精毒。
And just the last point is this is a reminders for us to be alert,
也就是提醒我们要来去谨慎。
because we can't be like it says intoxicated with this wine.
我们不能够来去饱饮这个浓酒。
So this, of course, does not necessarily mean just drinking alcohol.
那当然不只是说我们真的是来去喝酒。
But we know from the Bible that, from the story of Noah, that the blessing of God can become like a wine to us.
所以从挪亚的故事，我们知道说神的祝福可能成为我们的一种酒。
So when we are truly blessed, the things that we are blessed with can become something that leads us to be intoxicated.
那我们真的蒙福的时候，可能最终我们就成为一种酒精的中毒。
It blunts our senses.
就是把我们的这个理智把它给模糊了。
We no longer actually are clear what we are doing in our lives.
我们不再清楚我们的生活应该怎么做。
We no longer truly understand our identity as Christians.
我们已经不认清我们是基督徒的这个身份。
And so it is actually easy we know to become spiritually asleep when we are in this state.
所以在这样的情况当中，我们是很容易的就在我们说在灵里面已经睡着了。
And we can easily come to church and be like this.
我们可能很容易也来到教会。
Again, just go through the motions.
就经过这样的，就是照这个过程来去做。
And just feel at the end of the Sabbath day, we've ticked the box. We've observed another Sabbath day.
那我们就跟自己说，我们有守了安息日。
So this is chapter 56.
这就是56章。
There's a reminder that we prevent ourselves from defiling the Sabbath day.
就是告诉我们不要干犯安息日。
And those of us who are responsible in the church to make sure that we heed this warning to be alert in the church.
那些在教会做带领工作的人，我们要以这几节来作为警醒。
That we look out for one another.
我们彼此来去警醒。
And that we care for one another.
我们彼此关怀。
And that we bring joy and blessing to one another on the Sabbath day.
安息日能够有这个福气跟喜乐。
Let us all kneel down and pray.
我们一起跪下祷告。
It's time for lunch.
午餐。